Hello, today I'm going to discuss the modernization of city-owned elevators by me, Nadine Olivares. When I spoke to Director Montoya, we agreed that a great area of opportunity would be the elevators. Their ages range from 20 to 6 years old, Acropolis being the newer one built in 2001, and the Convention Center being our oldest, built in the 60s at 60 years of age. Now, we agreed that these elevators haven't necessarily gotten modern aesthetically pleasing equipment. From my understanding, I have found that these elevators have only been serviced when something major happens where they become inoperable. New parts will be bought to solve the current problem, but never replaced to its entirety. The elevators have been low priority for upgrades, and since they are constantly in use, they're fixed with the fastest and most cost-efficient option available. Currently, maintenance replaces the hydraulic fluids for two of the elevators, and for two of the elevators in the structure. And they reset the system when there's a door jam. Now, the reason behind all this is through the aging equipment, whether it's a system that all of them are analog. I think the only ones that are more modernized, which is Acropolis and Gold parking structures, and they're digital, but I believe they still run on floppy disk. And if we can upgrade these systems, it would help these elevators run a little bit more smoothly. And another reason why they're worn, and it would be great to get them replaced or upgraded or modernized, would be because of the excessive usage. I mean, these elevators see a multitude of people come in and out, and they're open 24/7 and to the public. So they're in constant use. Another reason why they're so worn is because of vandalism, whether it's a homeless breaking the light fixtures in the elevators so that it can be in complete darkness, or hoodlums trying to tag inside the elevators and giving it a new paint job, or just, I guess, a bored citizen that just wants to destroy city property. Poor maintenance upkeep. So with the sill track, the reason why it causes door jams is because of buildup of debris, or just even large rocks can cause door jams. And if we can prevent this just by doing a little bit better cleaning around the actual elevator doors. Now, my resources and people that are helping me, my team, my mentors and helpers, we'll start off with parking division manager Jeremy Kaiser, who has helped me and guided me throughout this whole process, and advised me. My lead supervisor, Maria Griego, who is a plethora of knowledge, especially when it comes to the garage and elevators. My direct supervisor, Steve Rael, who along with supervisor Anitra Jax, was there when we did the first meeting with TKE Representative Cody Adams. And they have kind of gathered, they're in charge of maintenance currently, or at least Anitra is, but at that time so was Steve. And they are the ones that kind of gathered knowledge and started to get used to the ropes of maintenance, and who I also go to when I feel lost. And of course, maintenance, Anthony Tijerina. He's actually where I got a lot of the history. He's been here for 13 years, I believe, 15. And he is, when it comes to anything that deals with maintenance or cleanliness or the garages. He is the go-to guy. Finance, Tracy Millman. So when these proposals, when they're finally signed off by my parking division manager, and Tracy would then take over and she would review and kind of finalize it and then send it off for the requisition. And I know this because she told me, and she's a great resource to have, especially whenever it deals with getting the approval of these proposals. Thiessen & Crump rep Cody Adams, who is actually our gateway to Thiessen & Crump, and I guess their middleman. Now they're my guide, my support, and they're here to help me, and they say so, and I feel it. Now the goal on achieving the modernization of these structures, and technically from bringing it from the left to the right, and I know this is not any of our garages, but I kind of had to emphasize what I guess ugly structure would be versus a beautiful structure. And now the first thing we would have to do is have them all up to code. And that being, I believe it's Arnold and Civic Center have code violations. And if we can bring those up to code, it would be perfect, the perfect start. Making our elevators vandal resistant in the form of vandal resistant buttons for the elevators for Acropolis and Civic, fixing the light fixtures for Copper, because I believe they've broken into them quite a few times, and making it to where they're not able to reach these light fixtures. Also, they're discussing like the doors and the walls being like graffiti resistant, or like where they wouldn't be able to scratch. But I'll just, so far with the vandal resistant light fixtures and the buttons would be a good start. And speaking of light fixtures, changing them to LED, it's, the mayor's plan to have Green City, and I'm all for it. Now, upgrade aesthetics, which is the interior of these elevators. If you guys have ever been to Plaza del Sol and use elevators, you would see how beautiful it is. And not necessarily replicate those elevators, but Eric, who is, I believe, a representative of SnapCab, are the ones that actually provided the interior for Plaza del Sol. And preventive maintenance, whether it's our maintenance or their technician, TKE technician, that ends up coming so that they can make sure that the elevators are running smoothly, and hopefully being trained to know how to maintain them. Now, the key milestones are the walkthrough with TKE representative, which was in January. I was unfortunately not present at that time when the walkthrough took place, and this is where I believe Nietzsche Jax met Cody Adams, and he went physically to every structure, and he viewed everything that was wrong with it. I did show up on February 4th when the initial meeting with TKE, where he said his first set of proposals, and he discussed what the elevators needed, and asked my division manager what course of action he would like to take. He went for 4 major but cost-effective upgrades, which are the codes, I believe, for Civic and the shut-off valves, and also there's another one. Oh, and Arnold for the emergency alarm battery, which is also a health code, a code violation. Alongside replacing the plastic buttons to Acropolis with anti-vandalism buttons, and finally getting a heating tank for the copper elevators so that they can maintain a specific temperature. The second round of proposals, I believe, was on on April 2nd. Yeah, on April 2nd is whenever I received the second round of proposals. And these were the new ones that Jeremy had agreed to in our meeting. And Cody wanted me to present them to Jeremy. But there was a discrepancy in the form of their prices had changed for the anti-theft buttons, and they had given us one price, and from my understanding, since they had to outsource, they were giving us a different price for the outsourced material. I had my meeting with Jeremy on the 5th, and we had discussed the pricing, and we decided to move forward with Copper's, the heating tank, and we decided for Civic Underground parking structures shut-off valves, the water shut-off valves, and the battery for the emergency battery for Arno, emergency alarm battery. And so I was to discuss the proposal with Cody, and we came to, I guess, into an agreement that we weren't going to go through with the anti-vandalism for Civic and the anti-vandalism buttons for Acropolis, which Civic was a new proposal that he had typed up. We are currently on the third round of proposals, which hopefully, and I'm crossing my fingers, will be pretty soon, next week, in a couple of days. And hopefully after that, we'll sign off on the proposals that are given to us, and they can start the work process. Here's a Gantt chart showing the dates and what was taking place on those dates. And after the third round of proposals, though that's just kind of wishful thinking at this point. What's next? Oh, gaps in progress. There's only 2 major gaps so far, and I didn't think that they were going to come so early in this project, which are proposal changes, and there are plenty, and time constraints. A lot of emailing back and forth with TKE Representative Cody Adams, and having to do meetings or set up the meetings with Jeremy and to discuss the proposals that are changing. I had previously thought that, well, I guess wishful thinking, but I had previously thought that we would have at least been started at this point already working in these garages, but I also have to wait for finance, and from finance to come back, and then for them to be signed off, and then the work can be scheduled, and then it could start. So those are the big major gaps in progress that I've seen so far, and breaks my heart. And this is my um, project charter, and you can feel free to look through it. You would also have a hard copy. So for that is all I know when it comes to this project, and I hope that I can continue to learn and continue to fill up my chart as I go, and I can give you another update. Thank you.